Hello everyone and welcome to Big City Knitting. It has been a full year since I started this podcast and I've had a lot of fun this year. I wanted to do a quick recap of 2024 of all of the projects that I've made, all of the skills that I've learned, all the techniques that I've learned and improved on. It's kind of similar to what I did last year for my Knits of 2023 video. So it's just kind of crazy that we're already back to that time of year again where I'm recapping all of the things that I've made in the past year. It kind of flew by really quickly. So yeah, we've got a lot to share and a lot to show you. So I guess we'll just get started and get into it. I've got my notebook right here. It's my iPad actually, but it has my notes on there about all of the projects that I've made, how long it took me, the yarn that I used, and of course the patterns and their names and designers and all of that. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning and work our way to the end. So the first project that I made this year, if you remember, gosh, these might be sparking a lot of memories of my previous videos, but that's fine. My very first thing that I made this year was my blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Here she is. If you remember, I did a video, I think my second video on this podcast of me winding up the hanks of yarn for this sweater. But here it is. If you're familiar with the blouse number 1, it is just a very simple long sleeve kind of boat neck top or blouse. And it is such a perfect pattern if you're interested in, like, you know, simple, clean looks. I got this yarn for my birthday last year, of course. It is the La Jala brand, the Ba yarn, and the colorway is from their March of 2022 collection. And it's just got a lot of pinks and oranges and greens and blues. It's just like a big variegated yarn. And I really love this one. I think it's just a very classic, very simple look. But yeah, I got a lot of wear out of it in the springtime. Obviously not so much in the summer or fall, just because of the color palette. And I haven't worn it a lot this winter just because, again, the color palette really isn't doing it for me right now. I think if I were to remake this pattern, I would definitely use maybe more of a solid color yarn. I'm not super into the color variegated yarns, just because I like more of like a clean, like uniform look. But I think I would definitely be interested in making this pattern again with like a solid color like that. I think this is definitely a pattern you could make over and over again, which I definitely plan to this year. So I'm excited for that. Okay, moving on to my next project that I made in 2024 is my red Cumulus blouse, the V-neck by Petite Knit. I'll show it to you right here. Very similar to the blouse number 1, where it's just a very simple long sleeve. I guess this one is a 3/4 sleeve V-neck top. I held this together, I knitted this with 2 strands of mohair held together. The brand of yarn is Leading Men Fiber Arts in the colorway Poison Apple. If you remember my video way early last year of me going shopping with you guys for the right color, I just think it turned out absolutely perfect. The red in person is still so vibrant and bright and beautiful, and I've gotten so much wear out of this. You can wear it like by yourself or by itself with maybe a tank top underneath, just because if it, you know, the mohair is pretty see-through. You could wear it with a tank top or a t-shirt underneath just for a good layering piece. And again, I mean, you can make this over and over and over again. It's just one of those patterns that just never gets old. I am interested in knitting it again this year. Of course, we'll save that for a future video. But yeah, tons of wear in the spring, in the summer as a layering piece for chilly evenings. Fall I got a lot of use out of, and the winter definitely with the pop of red and the snow. It's been perfect. So A+ in my books. And again, that was a Cumulus V-neck top from Petite Knit. All right, don't mind me being down here. Like I said, I've got my iPad full of notes right here of all of my patterns from 2024. And if you remember, I like to use the app Knit and Note, and it just helps me keep track of all of my projects and my patterns, the yarn details, and I just really love it. So don't mind me constantly looking back at my notes. So the third, are we on number 3? The third project that I've made this year is my sweater number 15, again by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Here she is. This is another one of my patterns that I have gotten a ton of wear out of. And I don't know if you might be able to see it. I mean, it's definitely worn. I knit this with the Drops Flora and the Drops Kids Silk. The Flora, I believe, is a merino wool. I just really love the combo. It's one combo that I love using again and again. They have a beautiful color selection and a beautiful like feel, like whenever I knit with it. I just think it's really nice. But yeah, so I use the colors pink and light pink for this, and I just think it turned out really well. I knit this with the plan. I'd seen a picture on Pinterest right here of someone styling like a similar sweater with a skirt and like jewelry. Like it caught my eye and I was obsessed with it for a little bit, and then I saw this pattern and I was like, this is the perfect oversized cabled sweater, and it turned out really well. With it being so oversized, there's only so much I can do to style it with what I've got. I think if I were to make this again, I would make more of a fitted sweater, or at least make it a little bit shorter. It fits really well, like circumference wise, with it being oversized, but it's just a little bit too long. So I think if I were to make it again, I would just like kind of cut off a couple cables, 2 or 3 cables, and end it right there, just to give me a more like comfortable fitted look. But again, a beautiful cabled pattern. This pattern right here was, I believe it was technically my second cabled project, or like cable pattern that I had worked with. I know the year prior I had made the Moby sweater by Petite Knit, but this one I think is definitely some more cables in there than the Moby sweater. So it took me a good while to finish it. I think about a month to finish this one, but I had a lot of fun making it. I had a lot of fun, but again, the body of this with all of the cables, it took a while. So definitely something to think about, you know, the next time I make an intricate cabled project like this one. But all in all, it was a really good one. And project number 4, this one actually was not a sweater for me, but a sweater for my now fiance. The past 2 years in a row, this one and the year prior, I have made him a sweater, and I plan on making him another one this year. Kind of like an annual project kind of thing. This year's project was the Wave sweater by Spectacle Stick. Here it is. I'll show you the back. Literally the exact same as the front. But yeah, I think on camera it looks fabulous. A couple things I have to say about this sweater. The pattern, fabulous, beautiful. If I were to give any critiques about it, about this project in particular, I think I would use different yarn for my next Wave sweater if I decide to make it again. The yarn that I used for this, I used soft silk mohair from Knitting for Olive for the green waves, and I used the color Pea Shoots. Beautiful color. It's what I had in mind. I held it, I want to say I held it triple. And then the tan yarn that I used was the Plymouth Yarn Company, or brand, I guess I should say, the Worsted Merino Superwash. It doesn't have like a fun color name, it's just color number 82. So it's just a kind of like a beige tan color, whatever. I think if I were to make this again, I would have the 2 contrasting colors made in the same yarn. While I was making it, it gave me a little bit of trouble with like kind of puckering, and like the textures of the yarn aren't really the same. Like I'll give you a close-up of the sleeve. This is after it's been blocked and worn quite a few times, but like I don't know if you can see, but like it's still kind of puckered right around here. I think if I were to make it again, if I were to do like the mohair with the merino, I think I'd hold the mohair with 4 strands instead of the 3, just to give it a little bit more I don't know, I think my tension was a little off with like the different fibers. But all in all, I mean, it turned out pretty well for my first, with my first color work sweater, really. I mean, I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, it's pretty clean, pretty solid for my first color work. So yeah. Another thing I have to say about the sweater is the neckline was kind of off. Whenever my fiance wears this, it just kind of like sits kind of weird on his shoulders, and the collar, like this part here just kind of stands up, and the collar just kind of like is there. So it's not like perfect, but I think for what it is, it turned out pretty well. Another thing is, I don't know if this is like something that I personally did to the sweater, or if it's just the nature of like raglans, but the raglan, I mean, it's so long, so the sleeves sit, you know, like kind of awkward on him, and comes down to like here, and then the sleeves are just kind of long, and it's just kind of an awkward sweater. It fits everywhere else though, just the neck and the like arms right here are just kind of wonky a little bit, but all in all, I think it's a good sweater. So, not bad. I give it a 7. You know, I realize I've ranked a couple of these sweaters, and I haven't ranked all of them. The ones that I have been ranking are like, oh, A+, 7 out of 10. Like, it's not consistent, so I'm just gonna stop doing that. But yeah, so this is the Wave sweater. My first colorwork sweater. I think, I don't know. This year was definitely the year of colorwork, for sure. And I'm very happy with with what I've done. I don't know. I love colorwork. I love that I have opened myself up to the world of colorwork, and I just feel very happy with what I've done. So yeah, the year prior, I was so focused on like trying like different styles of knitting. Like I made like simple sweaters, I made cabled sweaters, I made striped sweaters. Like I was trying a tiny bit of everything, but I hadn't stepped into colorwork a little bit or at all. So I'm really happy with what I have done with that this year, and I'm very excited to show you the rest of my colorwork. If you haven't already seen my previous videos talking about all of it, so yeah. So my next sweater is probably a top 3 contender of the sweaters that I've made this year, but it is the rug sweater by Junko Okamoto. And just look at it. Just look at how beautiful this color work is. I mean, she's stunning. Look at that. It is, I believe, last I checked, it is a free pattern on Ravelry. And I love it so much. It was so fast to knit up because the gauge recommends, or the pattern recommends a like bigger gauge. This literally took me like barely over a week to finish. So pat myself on the back a little bit for that. The yarn that I used was the Ella Rae brand in the Elegant Tweed. I just used a gray and black. So if you can look at a kind of a closer look, just kind of like the thickness of that yarn, the gauge, the fiber. I don't know, I just think it's so beautiful. It is my second colorwork sweater and my very first circular neck sweater as well. I was honestly a little bit intimidated working a colorwork sweater, just because like all of the circular yoke sweaters that I've seen, all of the patterns that I've seen, either the colorwork just doesn't really speak out to me, or I'm intimidated by the circular yoke, just because like my shoulders sometimes can be a little bit too broad for certain like necklines or styles or cuts or silhouettes. So like I've kind of tried to stay away from circular yoke. I just feel like it would be too tight on my shoulders and sit weird on my neck, and I wasn't super a fan until I saw this one. This is obviously so oversized that it's not really a problem. And I've probably gotten the most wear out of this sweater this year than any of my others. So yeah, I absolutely am in love with this sweater. The like the example photo that the creator has on the Ravelry project is also in gray and black like this one, and I just can't imagine the sweater being in any other colors. It's so perfect just how it is like this. I don't know, I don't think you can convince me otherwise. But yeah, I highly recommend this pattern. One, because it's free. Two, if you're wanting to get into like a little bit more intricate color work or circular yolks, I think it's a great idea. So highly recommend it. But that is the Rug Sweater by Junko Okamoto. Okay, moving on. My next project right here is the Luna Bralette by Naked Knit. Here she is. A few things about the pattern. It is incredibly simple. I mean, literally, it's so easy. The only thing I have to say about this project, I would not recommend it if you have maybe a bigger bust. When I made this, I had a ton of this extra yarn. It's kind of like gray and brown variegated. My original plan was to make another blouse number 1 with it. But then I was like, well, let me try some new patterns, some different stuff before I, remake anything. And I chose the Luna Bralette. I think if I were to remake this, is a closer look at the yarn. I think if I were to remake this pattern, because I definitely want to remake it, but I want to do it better, if that makes sense. So I think what I would do is I would definitely use a more sturdy or thick yarn, because the yarn that I have here was just a very fine gauge, very small gauge. And I mean, as you can see, it's pretty loosey-goosey, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of structure to it, which someone like me that has a bigger bust, I don't feel the most secure in it. And I would also make the bottom longer. So the way that this sits on me, it kind of like, this will kind of like pull the bottom up, or this side up a little bit, and I constantly have to be like adjusting, and like, I have to constantly be like, I don't know, I don't feel super secure in this. So I think if I were to remake it, I would definitely have a thicker yarn, a longer band, just to give it some more structure. And I think I would also do less increases right here, just to make it a little bit more like snug on me. Other than that, I think it's a great pattern. I think it's very versatile. Like, you could style it a couple different ways. And again, like, if you are someone with a smaller bust and don't need a whole lot of structure and support, I think it's great. The company that designed it, I mean, they have great patterns, don't get me wrong, and I've tried one other of their patterns. I think it was the shell bra. Again, it's a little bit tricky with somebody with a bigger bust. So I don't know, I might try to remake this in the future. I might not. I'm just a little bit bummed because I'm not going to be able to get a whole lot of wear out of this. Unless I just frog it and remake it and maybe hold it double with the same yarn if I decide to. And that might give it a little bit more structure. But yeah, it is what it is. Not every project was going to be a hit this year, I knew. So we just move forward. Another project that unfortunately was not a hit was my Hackett jacket by Raleigh Ruth. And here she is. As you can see, I mean, the yarn that I used was great. I used the, let me see, Drops Merino Extra Fine along with the Drops Kid Silk in vanilla, and the Merino was in the colorway light yellow. The vision that I had for this cardigan. I wanted something very like kind of light and airy and breezy, and I wanted something that kind of like tied closed rather than buttoned closed. And initially I really liked the example photo that the project had. I don't know if it was my gauge. I think the only issue was the tension that I had with the I-cord. The sleeves turned out fine. The body, the bottom was okay. It was good. Where I had the issue was the like the front. So like as you can see, I did not really do this I-cord right. I didn't cast on the right amount of stitches, and it just kind of like puckered, and like I don't know, it doesn't fit right, and it doesn't fit like the way I wanted it to fit. And like the I-cord ties, like they're cute, they're fine. I mean, they're I-cords, you know. But I mean, as you can see, I literally did not even bother with weaving in any of the ends. And then another issue that I had was in some spots in this project. I don't know how well they're gonna show up on camera, but let me see here. I don't know if you can see that, but where I put the pins in to block it, it kind of stained the yarn a little bit with the wet sweater and the metal, and I think I put it into a window, so like the heat, and it didn't turn out the way I was hoping to. So again, like I didn't even bother weaving in any of the ends. I didn't bother even trying to fix it. I just was kind of over it a little bit and just disappointed in myself. So it's just been kind of sitting in my closet waiting to be frogged. I do have plans for this upcoming year, but again, I'm gonna save that for my next video, my 2025 knitting plans video. So I'll go into more depth there. I plan on frogging it and using the yarn for another project, and I do have extra of this yarn still, plus this quantity of yarn. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I said before, not every project can be a hit. It's just a little unfortunate that for me, it was 2 projects back to back, just kind of flopped. So yeah, a little bit disappointing, but it happens to the best of us. So, but yeah, as soon as I get around to frogging this and repurposing the yarn, I think I could make up for it. So it is what it is. Moving away from the flops of last year, are the projects that hold a very special place in my heart. Definitely top 3, if not top 5 projects of this year. And the first one, the next one after my Hackett jacket that I made, was the porcelain sweater by Lee Knits. I mean, are you joking? I think earlier, I guess last year, 2024, or maybe 2023, I saw these everywhere. Everybody everywhere was making these. And of course, I just had to jump on the bandwagon. Are you joking? Are you kidding me? Lola? Look at, yeah. See, Lola wants to come and talk to you about the porcelain sweater. This is also her favorite of my knits from last year. Isn't that right? Yeah. She loves it. But yeah, Are you kidding? I'm literally obsessed with this. Aren't you? Aren't you obsessed with it too? Yeah. Just the different stripes of color work is just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. It just, the blue and the white with the stripes, it just looks so clean, so polished, just so absolutely perfect. The collar that I did, I mean, shut up. This is the most perfect thing I have ever made. The only thing, there's pros and cons to everything. The only thing that I wish is I had sized up just one more size. Just because like it fits me perfectly, but it's just the slightest bit fitted and the slightest bit a little bit too cropped. Like if I were wearing this with jeans or something, it was like the perfect length. But I kind of wanted it to like hang down just a smidge and me like do like a French tuck or something. That's how I normally style my stuff, is French tucks. With this, I can't really do a French tuck, but it still looks so good. The colorwork patterns, they're pretty easy to follow. I mean, they're a little bit tricky because I hadn't done color work like to this extent with this gauge, and it was a little bit intricate than what, like a little bit more intricate than what I had done in the past, but still like once I got the hang of it, it was pretty easy to follow. There are a couple spots where I made a couple mistakes. I'll bring it closer to show you. Right here with like the zigzag, I accidentally started making it like a 1-to-1. But if you don't know what to look for, it's not that noticeable. But if you do, if you're nitpicky like me, you can obviously tell. But I mean, with that being the only mistake I made with this sweater, I mean, who cares, you know? I will say it was very tricky working color work flat instead of in the round. So like on the back yoke specifically, you start making, like you do, I'm pretty sure you do this entire part flat, as well as this entire part flat, and then you work the other two in the round. I hated that part so much. It was horrible. But you know what, it all worked out and it's beautiful and it's fine. I just I can't get enough of it. Literally, I think it's my favorite of this year. Maybe it might be, I don't know. It's just perfect, so perfect. It's so clean and elegant and classic. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I keep seeing like other creators make the same sweater with like different colors. Like I really like the gray and blue, but like I've seen other design creators make it in like green or orange or pink, like other colors besides like white or off-white, gray, and blue. Personally, I don't think any other color looks as good as classic blue and white or blue and gray. That's just my opinion. That's just me. I mean, the pattern is beautiful. Every creator, I mean, all the sweaters are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but nothing hits quite as different as the classic blue and white with this pattern right here. So do with that what you will. I think it's just beautiful, and that's all I have to say. I mean, 8++, 10 out of 10, #1 fave. I love it. I love it so much. And so does Lola, who is sitting right there next to me. I did forget to mention the yarn that I used for that pattern was, again, the Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk. I think I used the colorway for the white. I just did off-white for the merino and the kid silk mohair. And then for the blue, I did denim blue and light denim blue for the yarn. But yeah, perfect. Absolutely beautiful. The next one on my list is actually not a sweater or a cardigan or a hat, but it is the zipper bag by Lopey Lopey Knits. I found the pattern. It is actually an Etsy pattern. I don't think I've been able to find it on Ravelry. So if you would like to knit this pattern as well, it is on Etsy, not Ravelry, as far as I know. I'll show you the pattern up close. Here it is. Beautiful. I mean, obviously it's called the tulip bag, but you've got these beautiful, beautiful tulips with the stripes and the leaves and the like mesh. And I did these little tiny little mini tulips right here. They're just they're like 2 rows of the green and 1 row of the pink. Bam. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely stunning. The other side, yeah, and I'll show you the bottom as well. The bottom, like, I didn't really do quite a good job like connecting the bottom. I haven't really quite mastered the mattress stitch yet, so it just looks kind of messy and like not great. And then I had some difficulty with the inner lining. Here it is. I use a super cute flower fabric, and I think it's technically little roses, little pink roses, but they look kind of like tulips. So I thought it would be nice with this bag. I did not make the lining big enough. So like if I put my hand in, like here is where my hand ends, right here with the lining, and then I've got all of this empty space, like all right here for the bag. And then I don't have a lot of space to insert the zipper, and like I didn't really want to deal with figuring that out. So I haven't really done anything with it since finishing it. The lining also, I mean, it gave me a giant headache trying to figure it out. So I didn't. I just kind of gave up and shoved it in my closet, and I haven't really worried about it. The like bag itself, it was pretty fun to work up. I knit it, I believe I held it double for the most part. No, I didn't. I used a lot of my scrap merino. It was mostly scrap drops merino. Just because I had a lot left over from past projects or projects that I never actually made. So I had a bunch. And then this brown is just some extra wool that I had lying around. So it's a good stash buster if you've got some extra scraps laying around. I really want to say I held this double because the example project that is on Etsy was literally like this big. And I was like, man, that is so insanely tiny. I might be able to fit like chapstick or like my AirPods in it. Like that's insane. Like that's too small. So I held it double thinking, oh, well, maybe it'll be like a pencil pouch size. And it's huge. I mean, good Lord. So yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it. If anything, I might try my best to like rip out the lining, maybe like unseam it or like cut it out or something and redo it. But I'm just kind of nervous about doing that, so we'll see. I might save it for like, I don't know, if I want like a sewing project to do, or I don't really have, obviously I'm always gonna have a project on the needles, but like if I don't want to work on what's on the needles, I might mess with this a little bit. I don't know, I'm not too worried about it, so I haven't really had a need for it. I think whenever I started to make it originally, I wanted it to be like a makeup bag or a travel bag or like something like that for my toiletries. And I think if I were to fix the lining and add a zipper, I think it would work really well for my toiletries whenever I travel and stuff. But I haven't really had a use for it. So if I fix it and finish it, maybe that'll change, but it's not on my list of priorities. This project right here is a super fun project for me. I took it with me on my Florida vacation last summer. I had a lot of fun. This is my cloud sweater by Petite Knit, but I like to call it my Morning Glory sweater. Here it is. Wow, 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 wow. You're kidding. OMG. So, if you remember, I had a whole video talking about how I did this. And I highly, if you haven't watched it yet, I really suggest that you do. Because wow, I could talk about the sweater for like 20 minutes. Here's the back. Okay, so like I said, the base pattern for the sweater itself is the cloud sweater. But I was on Pinterest trying to find like some inspiration for a next project, blah blah blah, and I came across like some pictures like kind of similar to this, and I saw some charts on Pinterest as well. I believe they're actually for like embroidery or cross stitch or something like that. But I think, I mean, any project or any like chart or pattern like this can be easily converted into like a color work chart for knitting. And that's exactly what I did. I actually designed my own chart using grid paper and markers. And it turned out really well, I think. I just did like an overlay, like a duplicate stitch with my yarn and a darning needle, and I just kind of like overlaid it on top of this sweater. I thought about doing intarsia, but with like the details, I wasn't about to do all that. But yeah, there's just a couple like Morning Glory flowers and buds, and I am in love. I chose Morning Glories because they remind me the most of my mom. Love her. And I thought the blue and the green just worked very well together. And you've got like the purple poking in like with the details. This is like a little bud right here and like other leaves. But yeah, I just think it's absolutely stunning. And if you want, I'll show you the inside, because I know some of you like watching, or some of you like looking at the inside of color work sweaters. Here she is. It's a mess. It looks so bad. But nobody ever sees it day to day, so like it's fine. But yeah, I think the hardest part, honestly, was knitting the sweater. Just because, like, with all of the other, like, cable work, color work, stuff like that, like, to knit a stockinette sweater with one color, like, it was boring. It was pretty boring. And it was kind of hard to finish. But I did. And the second hardest part was, like, all of, like, the stitches that I did here, like, filling in the bigger areas of one color took forever. Like I said, like, I took this on vacation with me, and I didn't even finish it in that full week. I think I finished it in, like, 2 weeks, just the color work portion. The sweater, I don't really know how long that took me, but the color work took a hot minute. I want to say probably 2 weeks to finish all that, so definitely took me a while, but I thought it was a lot of fun. Duplicate stitch, it's really nice, like, if you've got, like, a plain sweater like this and you want to just, like, add some kind of element to it or, like, something like that, I think it would be really fun. And again, like, any chart that you can find on Pinterest, or even, like, making your own chart like I did, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So I just really loved working on it, and it was so fun. But yeah. The next project that I made in 2024 is another Stockholm Hue hat by Petite Knit. This one actually took me forever to make, I'm gonna be honest. But here she is. The yarn that I use is absolutely beautiful. I use, like, a couple different ones actually. So I was at my yarn shop one day and I saw some yarn that they had on display, and let me figure out what it was. I only got one ball of this yarn because I knew I was gonna be making it for, like, a small hat, just like something kind of quick and easy. So it was from Lang Yarns, and it was the Merino 200 Bebe color, and the colorway was 5372. But, like, as you can see, it's this beautiful, like, it had, like, a pink and white base with, like, different color stripes. So, like, pink, or no, yeah, orange, pink, purple, and yellow stripes in it. Kind of like a self-striping yarn. I just think it was so beautiful. And, like, up close and better lighting, like, you can definitely see, like, all of the different colors. I held this together with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in, I believe, Dusty Artichoke. Let me see. Yeah, Artichoke Purple, as well as Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the off-white that I had left over from my porcelain sweater. I had, like, a full wall left over, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? But yeah, it actually took me forever to finish because I was just working on a bunch of other stuff, other projects and everything, that I didn't really want to sit down and just knit, like, a hat, and I was just kind of bored with it after a little bit. But I eventually finished it after, let me see how long it took me actually, because it's kind of amusing. 5 months. It took me 5 months to knit this little hat, which typically, I mean, this could have been something that I would have gotten done in, like, 5 days. But I took the longest break on it, and it was just kind of sitting in my closet for a while, or not my closet, but my basket, my project basket. And I did not want to work on it at all. Like you can see, like I didn't weave in the ends. But it's a cute hat. I mean, it's really cute. It's so like thick and warm, like squishy. It's a good hat. It just took me forever to make it. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it took a long time. So, yeah. There's the hat. Surprisingly, like, I didn't make that many hats. I think the year prior, I made, like, at least 2 hats. So, like, not as many as the previous year, but still. So my next project, my next finished object of 2024 is the Amandier cardigan by Zoe Knit. I knit this one again in the Drops Flora. If you're surprised, I don't know why. Drops Flora has been, I mean, just a constant yarn this year. Last year, gosh, I've been obsessed with that. But I used the off-white, the light beige, and I think like brown or natural brown for this one. But just look at this motif, this colorwork motif. Isn't that just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? It's just so intricate and detailed, but also still like very clean, very like geometric. I don't know, I just love it. If you're looking at the project and thinking, that looks a little like off center. Why is this side, like why is this side higher than this side? Like why doesn't it line up? It's because that this project was steeked. So like I knit the whole thing in the round and then I cut it to turn it into like a cardigan that opens up. And the whole process was really interesting because I'd never steeked anything before. It was very, very intimidating, I will say. But I think it turned out really, really well. Yeah, I love her. So she was my first steeked project, and she was also my first bottom up project, which was kind of fun. I know a lot of the times for my projects, like I fly through like the top construction part just because they're all always in like little bite-sized sections, like complete this part and complete these parts and connect it and do this and do that. And I can normally zip by pretty quick, and then the body takes forever because it's so repetitive and monotonous. But this one, it was really fun doing bottom up because I can get the body out of the way first and then do all the little bite-sized pieces. And it was just kind of fun. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know if, I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to do bottom up a whole lot. Just because like I don't know, like I know I just complained about doing top down and like doing the monotonous body, but like there's something just like comfortable about that. And like I don't know, a lot of the projects or patterns that I like are top down naturally, but this was just kind of fun to kind of like break up that pattern. But I don't think I'm gonna like seek it out a whole lot next year. This year, oh my goodness. But yeah, so here she is. Let me show you the buttons. That is very important. I feel like the buttons always make the project, really ties it together. So if you can see, hang on. I'll show you this button here, if you can see it. It's just kind of this like tarnished metal kind of button. Very like, I don't know how well you can see that. I might, I'll probably insert some pictures up at the top or to the side of the buttons just so you can get like a better picture. I don't have the best lighting right now. It's just my big light because it's getting dark outside and it's been snowing all day. So, but yeah, so that is my Amandiere cardigan. Love her. I've seen some people knit them in different colors, but this was pretty similar to the example photo. I don't know why, but the example photos always have this like grip on me because it's like, I don't know, they always make them in the most perfect colorway and like color pairing, and it's just perfect. Like, why would you make it in any other color? I don't know. I just think it was great. So speaking of making things in the exact same colorway, we have here my Ilara cardigan. Whenever the pattern was released, whenever Emily Chen released the pattern, she had made hers in the Drops brushed alpaca silk in the colorway Rainforest Dew, or yeah, Rainforest Dew or Raindrop Dew, something similar along those lines. And that's exactly what I did. Here she is, just a beautiful cozy sweater. It's a cardigan with this beautiful little motif, this cable motif on the front, again on the back, here it is, and then on the sleeves as well. And don't forget the pockets as well. Yeah. If you remember in one of my previous videos, if you watched it, I did purchase buttons for it. I have yet to sew them on. Just because like it's either, you know, out of sight, out of mind, or I'll think about it, you know, I'll put it on and be like, oh, I need to put the buttons on. Oh, I'll do it later, and then it never gets done. So, but yeah, it is so soft. It's pretty warm. And it's just, it's very, very nice. I always grab for it just because it's comfy, it goes with a lot of different colors, and I don't know, I'm just always grabbing for it. I wear it to work a lot, just for like a cozy, like comfy, classic, clean look at work for the office. I love it so much. Again, I think if I were to make it again, I would make it just a little bit shorter, but I do love the kind of oversized fit of it as well, so I'm kind of torn between like, do I love the fit, or, you know, do I want to, I don't think I would, you know, remake it in the same colors or frog it just to take some length off. Like, I'm not gonna go that far. But I think if I were to knit the pattern again, I might make it a tad shorter, just to like see the difference, see which one I like more. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making this one. I was trying to finish this one as quickly as I could, because it was the last project that I had wanted to make before my trip to Germany this fall, and I got it done in time. And I took, I mean, all of the sweaters that I've been making there I've been making here, I took to Germany and I was wearing them all week, and it was a lot of fun. And this one, I just barely made it in time. So I was very happy with that. So, but all in all, like I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, it met my expectations. Let me turn this around. The pockets, if you can see, they're not exactly even, just because like I was kind of in a hurry to finish it and sew on the pockets. And then I finished them and realized that they were kind of like uneven and crooked, and I was like, you know what? I don't care that much to like redo it. So I didn't. It was that easy. So, yeah. I think if I didn't have a deadline for the sweater, I would have remade the pockets. But I just simply could not be bothered. But it turned out fine. This is also my first saddle shoulder construction. And if you don't know what that is or what that means, you so you make the shoulder pieces first, just like little rectangles, and then you cast on for the back yoke, like for both pieces. So you cast on the back yoke, and then that's done, and then you cast on the front yoke, and then you just connect them at like this part, just like normal. And I thought that was kind of fun. So I am definitely interested in doing more saddle construction. I like the look of it, and I like how it fits. So it's definitely on my list for this year. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think if I were to make this again, I would love to do like a white or like a baby blue or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see where my plans take me for this year. Another project that I don't actually have with me is the Lilac sweater by the Crea Bea. I actually knit this for one of my coworkers at work, and I took this project to Germany with me, and I was like kind of working on it while I was there, kind of walking and knitting, and it was a lot of fun. He commissioned me to make this for him. He chose like the color, he chose the pattern and all of that, and it was a lot of fun. It was my first time doing like I think it was half fisherman's rib or fisherman's rib. I can't remember exactly which one or what the difference is, honestly. And it was my first time doing a zipper as well. I thought about whenever I was planning the sweater for my fiance, I was thinking about making the zipper jacket or the zipper sweater by Petite Knit. Obviously I didn't do that, but I was able to do like the quarter zip still, like for my friend. So yeah, it was really fun to make, and he really liked it. It did take a while, partly because of the size. I think I had to make a size 5. I think that sounds right. So it took a while to make, you know, the correct size, and it also took a while just because of the monotonous, like every 2 rows being the same, you know, it's kind of the same as stockinette for me. Just knitting over and over and over again was just a struggle to get through, but we did it, and it's great. It's perfect. And then another one that I also don't have with me is actually the Barnes cardigan. And this is another one that I commissioned for that same coworker's wife. And again, he picked the color, he picked the pattern, and it turned out, I mean, absolutely stunning, just breathtakingly beautiful. With the wool and the intricate braids and cables and the pockets and the folded collar, I mean, everything is just chef's kiss. It's just beautiful. Absolutely perfect. The whole time I was making it, I was like, man, I want this for myself. I want one. I want one. I know I want to make it again. I think it's perfect. To those of you who haven't made it or haven't like looked at the pattern, it is made like you make the panels separately. So like I started with the back panel, which is, this one is also made bottom up, which I thought was fun. So you really could knit them in any order, but I chose to make the back panel first, and then the two front panels, and then the sleeves. So it was really nice because like each time I finished one panel, I would block it and then make the next panel while that one was drying. I thought that was really fun, and it was kind of, I don't know if you guys have like the same like instant gratification thing where it's like, oh, I finished this little thing and now it's on to the next one, and I finished this little one and I'm on to the next one, and it was just really fun. The panels themselves worked out fairly quickly, but to finish all of the panels took me a while. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great. And then the mattress stitch that I did to like kind of piece them all together turned out really well, and they all kind of lined up perfectly. Like there's not like any weird like bunched up pieces, or it's not crooked, and it's not like, I don't know. I think I did a great job on it, and my coworker said that his wife absolutely loved it. So I feel very proud of this project, and I'm just a little bit sad that I won't be able to wear it myself and show it off and say, yeah, I made this. But I am very happy that I was able to do that for somebody, and they get to say, oh, somebody made this for me, and it's just really great. I like it. I don't know if I don't know how often I would consider like selling my stuff. I know like all the time, whenever I wear my stuff out, you know, and somebody comments about it like, oh, you should sell the stuff, and you should open up a store and do all this and that, and like I always say that like that would be so horrible to spend like all of my time making stuff for other people, but I don't know, it made me kind of happy to see like somebody else being so excited over something that I made for them. Like, I don't know, it's just a nice feeling. So, and then last but not least, it's kind of sad that we're already done. I say like already done, but then I've had a total of like 15, 16-ish projects for this year, and I'm like, dang, that's it? Yeah, that's it. That's all. Be fine. I mean, it's fine. But anyway, last but not least, this project was not something that I was expecting to make for very long at all. And it was a kind of, you know, very spur of the moment decision, and none of you were expecting it. However, this is Dama's Mohair Yoke by Dama Knitwear, and just look at this yoke. OMG, you gotta be kidding me. Look at that. Isn't that just the most beautiful thing you have ever seen in your life? you've got this yoke, you've got the two-toned collar and sleeves and hem. I mean, tell me this isn't the most gorgeous thing you've ever laid your eyes on. OMG. Whenever I was working on the Barnes cardigan, I stumbled upon this on TikTok, and this content creator and knitter posted this video clip. This is a screenshot of it, and I instantly fell in love. So I made my own. I used drops, of course. This is the brushed alpaca silk, and I actually held it with 3 strands of the brushed alpaca. I think I knit the size 2. I think I made the size 2. I think given another opportunity, I would knit the size 3, because if you remember earlier, whenever I was talking about the rug sweater, I had an issue with some circular yokes where it would be like kind of tight on my shoulders and it would sit on my neck weird, and it would just kind of like not really line up. It's exactly what happened with this one. So I blocked it, and like I try to like stretch it a little bit up here just to kind of let it sit a little bit better, but it's just a little bit small. The length of the body is fine. The length of the sleeves, I mean, it could be probably like 1 to 2 inches longer. The neck is comfortable. It's just a little tight on my shoulders, as you could probably guess. But this is just the most perfect sweater I think I've made ever. I knit it just barely in time for Christmas, which I think turned out absolutely perfectly. It couldn't have turned out any better, except for the sizing issue, but I finished it just in time. The perfect colorway, the perfect pattern. I mean, tell me, I say this is a Christmas sweater. It makes perfect sense. These look just like little ornaments and little like stained glass, just like, it's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. The yarn, like I said, was the Drops brushed alpaca. I knit it in the colors light beige for this, and then Bordeaux for the red. And I actually have a ton left over. So like I probably could have knit the size 3 instead if I had thought about it for like 10 minutes longer, but it's fine. But no, so now I've just got extra alpaca silk to use up sometime. But yeah, this took me probably 2 weeks to make, I think. I got the collar and the yoke done in like 2 days. So yeah, it was I want to say it was like a holiday weekend, or you know, maybe I was just off work that weekend and had some extra time on my hands. But I got it done super quickly, and like holding yarn, like holding 3 strands of yarn, I mean, that it gets thick, so it knit up pretty quickly. But yeah, so a good, quick, and easy project to finish out the year, and to round up all of my projects. So yeah, that actually is it. That is everything that I knit in 2024. It feels like kind of crazy. Like it feels like I made a lot more stuff, and like looking at my pile right here, it feels like some of it, like I feel like on one hand I didn't knit that much, And on the other hand, I'm like looking at it and I'm like, oh, I forgot I made that this year. Or like, oh wow, like I remember making that and that was so fun. Like, I don't know, I just feel very proud of myself, like learning like new techniques and new styles and new like constructions, and I don't know, it was just so fun. And I'm really looking forward to another year of expanding my knowledge and opening new doors. And I just feel very proud of myself. I think 2024 was definitely the year of color. I'm really excited to film my next video, all of my knitting plans for the upcoming year, and share my my first whip of the year. I'm not gonna do that today just because it's not the purpose of the video today. But nonetheless, I'm very excited to share my upcoming ventures with you guys. So yeah, thank you so much for sitting down and joining me today to kind of recap 2024. If you've been with me since my very first video last year, thank you. I've had a lot of fun with this podcast, and I'm very excited to see where it takes me throughout this next upcoming year. And I'm just very excited to see how it all turns out. So again, thank you for being here with me and following me on my journey and tagging along. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the next video. So stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, and happy knitting.